Greetings, everybody. Debbie, Miss Ladybug here. As you can see from the title, this video is about me having COVID on top of neurological damage done by prescription medications combined with PTSD. Pretty much my doctors had already determined I have some brain injury. I actually have a appointment for intake with a neurologist January 7th to determine to what extent that damage is. But I got COVID a month ago and it has impacted my neurological status. And I'm going to share about that here. So anyway, for those with that need a little backstory, I took multiple pharmaceuticals as prescribed by doctors over a period of 25 years. The period between 2010 and 2018, I had 19 prescription medications that I took for long-term use, and over at least 8 or 9 of them that were combined together over a period of years. I no longer take any medications at all anymore, no pharmaceuticals. And I haven't for almost 3 years, but it has left me with some deficits, and having COVID seems to have impacted those, and that's where it attacked me the most. So here's the story of how it's been the last 28 days. Today is my 28th day with symptoms. November 18th was the first day I noticed symptoms. However, in retrospect, I was able to remember that I had been sneezing a few days in advance and had a little bit of sinus congestion, but nothing noticeable until Wednesday, November 18th, when I developed a headache. And I don't get headaches very often anymore. Many years ago, I used to have migraines, but it's been a couple decades. And so it was just, I just very rarely have a headache, and it was kind of weird. So then what was really weird was when I woke up with it the next morning, and I was like, waking up with a headache's not cool. And I told my friend about it, and she's like, well, let's keep a watch. And as the day progressed, I was just like, man, this headache is like a pain, like it's really a bother. And I had a little teeny tiny sore throat, but it was all on the outside. It was like my throat was swollen. So I went to bed and I woke up with the sore throat again. Not a sore throat, sorry, with the headache again. The sore throat, not so much, just the headache. And it was like, man, I got this headache and it's not good. It hurts. And it literally was from my nose up, back to my ear and across. So this whole frontal lobe and my sinuses were just all pressurized. It was just so much pressure constantly. It was really a relentless headache. I mean, the pain, I would have put it maybe at a 6, maybe a 6. I've had worse pain before, but it was just like, this is like there, constant. So anyway, I called the doctors and they said I should be tested for COVID, even though I have no fever, no shortness of breath, no pulmonary symptoms whatsoever, just the headache and a slight sore throat. But they couldn't get me in until the 24th. So I had to wait 5 days. I was tested positive on the 24th. By that time, over the weekend, the headache had worsened. I was pretty debilitated. I had a lot of congestion and profound weariness, such fatigue. On November 29th, the headache kind of changed and the pressure kind of released, and it was relieved. It seems like it was relieved, but it moved more towards the back of my head, and it seemed very much connected to my vision and eyes and to my sinuses. So like I could breathe and it would it would feel like I had a cold dart going in my nostril up to my head and zinging in my head. It was the weirdest. And then it would just move about. There's a lot behind my eyes, and my eyes became more and more affected. Then I also developed what felt like whiplash and severe low backache. I've been in a car accident, a motor vehicle accident, where I was sitting at a stoplight and I was rear-ended at 55 miles per hour, and I had back problems for years, and this feels like it did like at day 3 or 4 after that wreck. I mean, it's through my shoulders and across all my upper neck and my lower back. I felt like I was in a really severe fibro flare. Like I could feel the inflammation literally coursing through my body. It was just like inflammation. I just felt inflamed. However, my temperature was sitting between 95 and 95.5 most of the time when I would check my temperature, which was very strange. I also had itchy skin. Actually, in my sleep, I was scratching till I was bleeding on my forearms. And I itched all over. My head itches. In fact, you can see I posted a couple of videos on my Instagram and Facebook page, and you can see I'm just like itching. Let's see, a lot of belching. Both my friend and I had belching. I told you about visual disturbances and profound fatigue, just no energy. It would be, you'd wake up at 7:38, but it took until 11 to even think about even getting a cup of tea or much of anything. I kept water by the bedside. I've had no appetite. I lost my sense of smell the day before Thanksgiving. I have decreased taste. What else? I've had brain fog and low heart rate, which my heart rate runs low. My resting heart rate runs around 45. And it's been there at 45, but even if I go out and take a little walk up to the barn or something and check it afterwards, it's still only like at 55. It just isn't really going up. So that's where I was November 29th. December 1st, I talked with my doctor, and she is concerned about the ongoing neurological symptoms. From what she was saying, COVID attacks whatever is your weak area. So if you have pulmonary issues or have had history of pneumonia, like my friend, she ended up, her COVID gave her pneumonia, and because that's her weak spot. Well, my weak spot is my neurological system had already been pretty damaged because of PTSD and meds. And so that's what it was attacking. And so I was instructed to take high doses of vitamin C and to use Tylenol if I wanted for fever and pain. And then I am a cannabis patient. It's what I've used to get off all the medications. And she said to continue using my cannabis. And boy, am I grateful for that, because I have been using fairly pretty good doses, probably about a half a gram of FICO a day. On top of, my friend makes a lovely fibro and Lyme disease blend tincture, and I used a lot of that. In fact, she's got a bottle coming to me because I used it all up. And I also have been using, and I don't get anything for saying anybody's stuff, what I'm using, but I also used Kush Cream's Permafrost across my shoulders and my temples and my low back, and it really helped with the pain. It didn't take it all away, but it did provide some relief. So on the next day, December 2nd, so the day I was on the phone with my doctor, December 1st, that day and the day before, my friend had developed a fever. was even more tired, was a little bit goofy. She's 86 years old and normally is fine, but she was being a little goofy. I was noticing a little goofiness. Um, and we took her in on the 2nd and had a chest x-ray, and she had developed viral pneumonia. So we came home, and again, we just buckled down. And about that time, some of her friends that she has a group with started bringing us some meals because they could see that this was just going on, and we were getting fatigued. We were really, this was at, well over 10 days, closer to 12 days by this time, and we were fatigued. We'd been still somehow, and we're both so grateful. We have llamas to take care of, and chickens, and barn cats, and my dog. And even through our worst days, we somehow managed between the two of us to still make sure animals had water and food. It might have just been going and throwing food and filling water and coming back in and going back to bed, but the animals, they keep us going. They're such a benefit in so many ways. Anyway, so yeah, she developed pneumonia, so we came home and buckled down again. So, it was getting a little better. I mean, I don't feel as bad with the body aches. I don't feel the profound fatigue. The headache isn't as intense, but I still don't feel very good. And December 8th, I was still having symptoms. My headache was roaming, and it was really affecting my eyes. Like I was like wearing sunglasses all the time and still having neck pain. I had an appointment, a Zoom appointment with my doctor, and that's when she said, okay, we're going to start some supplements. So I added on vitamin D, and I'll put the dosages down in down below, like in the information and description. I'll put what she told me to take. But it was the high doses of vitamin C, vitamin D, magnesium, quercetin, and melatonin. And zinc. So I can't take zinc because it rips my gut up. And I can't take melatonin because I have a paradoxical effect and it actually makes me more awake. Oh, that's another symptom that I've had is insomnia. My good friend, insomnia. Oh, I've had multiple nights each week that I've not slept or I've had reduced sleep, even though I'm profoundly tired. It's very hard. So anyway, some smell was returning by the 8th, and I was still very fatigued and occasional dizziness and still weak. So literally, we've done nothing around here except, like I said, attended to the basic needs of the animals and attended to our own basic needs. It's basically shuffle from bed to the living room, to sit in a chair and maybe watch a TV show, to try to scrounge something to eat, to put our dishes in the dishwasher, and to hobble back to bed. And usually that means a couple hours, 2 or 3 hours in the middle of the day being in bed. So that's kind of how it was for like 2.5, almost 3 weeks. This week we've been awake more and out of bed more, but I started developing a very low temperature. I woke up 4 days ago, and I took my temperature. I was cold and I didn't feel good, and I took my temperature and it was 94.8, and that is hypothermic. And my brain just went into overdrive of I've got to get warm. This is not good to have your temperature this low. So I came out here by the wood stove. I drank a couple of cups of tea. I made a hot bowl of soup, and I got my temperature back up. But I was dizzy. I felt my brain was not connecting well, and it was concerning. So I called my doctor and told her, and she made an appointment for the next day, which was last Friday. But she really didn't want me to come in because she said, I don't really have anything for you because you can't take any medications because your body doesn't react well to medications. The only thing I could offer would be maybe like steroids or something for pain. There is nothing that I can give you. And she said, and I know you're tired, but if your temperature stays low, I do need to see you. So we agreed that if my temperature was below 95, that I would keep the appointment. However, when I awakened on Friday, my temperature was above 95, and I felt really wiped out and not well at all, and I didn't want to go anywhere, so I canceled the appointment. I just laid around on Friday. Saturday, I felt a little better. Actually, Saturday seemed to be a pretty decent day. And then Sunday, I was hit with the super low temperature again. And then Monday, it was 94.1. And 2 days in a row, I had walked into walls or walked into furniture. I was losing my balance. My equilibrium was off. So I needed to be seen. So I went in on December 15th. Oh no, I went in yesterday, December 14th. And also I decided to take my blood pressure yesterday because I have a blood pressure cuff, and it was 160/69. I typically run 110/60. So that was high too. So I got in to see the doctor, and basically she was like, this is just some residual of COVID, nothing to worry about. There's nothing we can do. You need to take up the low temperature with your primary care physician. Right now, when I went in there in the afternoons I do a lot better. My temperature was 97 or 96.8. My blood pressure was fairly in the normal range. My heart rate was 55, but they don't blink about my heart rate because it runs low most of the time anyway. So she ordered a basic metabolic panel, a CBC, and a thyroid panel, as thyroid can cause the fatigue and the visual disturbances and headaches. So we'll see, and the low temp. So here we are today. I still have a headache. 27 days, 28 days, I've had a headache every day. It's hard on the psyche after a while. It takes a toll. Because I can't really do anything. I mean, I don't feel well enough to do, I've tried coloring. I try watching a movie for a little bit. I can't stay focused very long. There is brain fog. There is words don't come right. Like this morning, I came out of the bathroom and my friend's like, "Oh, are you going somewhere?" And I'm like, "No, I brushed my face and washed my teeth or something." I get words really like backwards, or I am thinking one thing and I say something. The brain is, and my friend is having trouble with her brain as well. She's feeling better. She's feeling quite a bit better. She's not having any symptoms to speak of, except still a little bit more tired than usual. But otherwise, she's feeling fine. But she does notice this kind of her brain not working so well. So that's pretty much, where I'm at. Basically, for those of us that have been injured, we are at risk of this affecting all those symptoms even more. And I'm not sure if this feeling cold, and my temperature being so low, and my blood pressure being high, and my heart rate being low, I don't know if that's thyroid. I don't know if it's, my autonomic system is not regulating itself. I don't know. Right now with COVID, it's difficult out there. Having to wait 5 days for a test, that's ridiculous. Some of the information I was given, I tried going and getting a test because they said there was a test at Fred Meyer. And so I went into Fred Meyer trying to get a test, and they're like, oh, we only test for the antibodies after you're not sick. If you're sick, go away. And I'm like, well, duh, that's what I thought. But someone told me to go to Fred Meyer's to get tested. And um, just, you feel kind of like like those of us that have been injured have been feeling for a long time, that we're alone in a battle because people are trying to brush off your symptoms, or they're, gaslighting you, or as in the case with my own physician, and I'm so grateful for her honesty, she simply says, we don't know what to do. We just don't know right now what to do for these people who are having what is being called long haulers, COVID long haulers. So COVID is real. I was doing all I could to not get it. Not sure where exactly, but there were a few occasions that people were allowed in without a mask. That's the only contact I can think of. I wore a mask, I washed, I maintained distance. And I will be, because now my immune system has been compromised, and that's another thing that can go really haywire is, you have to be careful. I was taking some elderberry when it first started, and my doctor said, do not take any immune boosters because you can cause, I think she called it an immune storm, which can make you even more sick. This is a weird virus. Symptoms change daily, sometimes hourly. I was fortunate that I wasn't all alone. It was nice to have someone to commiserate with and to talk about this with. But my friend and I, we had very different courses, very different symptoms, even though we both were likely infected from the same place. And then, the long haulers, some people are saying, they're saying 99% of people get over it like a cold in 10 days, 14 days. Well, I'm here at 28 days, and this is not a cold. This is not a cold. And my life is being disrupted, and it feels kind of scary because I just don't know what to expect and how to proceed forward, because I'm in unknown territory, just like everyone else that's going through this. Anyway, I just thought it was important that my followers on my YouTube page, this is the first day I really felt up to doing something like this. I have been doing little updates on my other social media places, but I simply have just not felt well enough until today. So anyway, you got to join me on my afternoon, which is, my afternoons are much better than my mornings. I've had a couple of doses of cannabis, and so the pain levels, subside some, and I feel a little better. But this is not fun. And I'm grateful I'm alive, and I'm grateful I have a nice warm wood stove to sit by, and I have my friend, and I've had good food, and I've had people who have cared, who have checked in on me, and I'm able to breathe. But this is to show people that it's not just about ICU, it's not just about breathing. There's many other body systems that can be affected with COVID, and there can be residual after effects that we don't even know how long they might last. Current statistics are showing up to 30 to 35% of people have residual symptoms longer than a month, and even longer than 2 months. So anyway, that's where things are. Kind of everything's on hold, and I'm just trying to get well. Story of my life, isn't it? Anyway, thanks everybody who cares and checks in. Thanks for people who tell me my story has helped. That's why I share it. That's why I'm sharing it today, because there might be someone out there that just got diagnosed. There might be someone out there that has concerns, and this might just be something someone needs to feel like maybe they need to protect themselves a little bit with extra caution. So anyway, y'all take care. Happy holidays. Be safe. Be well. All right. Peace, y'all. Love you.